It's Thursday, which means it's the weekly wrap-up. I cannot believe it is June 27th. Already the summer is going by so fast. I know last week I was like, I don't know what to talk about today. There's so much stuff, but when it's so office related or not directly animal related, I always think it's boring, and Olivia reminded me it's not. You guys like to hear the behind the scenes of what we do, and you know, not everything is always about direct animal care, even though that's a huge part of what we do. It's about preparing the staff and the people for direct animal care and for fundraising and for emergencies and things like that. So this week was bittersweet. We said goodbye to the AmeriCorps team. So that's 7 hands that we won't have working on projects, but we have wonderful volunteers, that even a couple here yesterday and one here today. We also said goodbye to some animal care interns and welcomed new animal care interns. We are in the process of interviewing and hopefully expanding our intern program again. So if you know people involved in communications or animal care that want to apply for an internship, definitely let us know and have them check out our website to apply. We're also looking at bringing some things back that have kind of gone away in our intern program. A lot of that was trial and error. So guess what? My birthday's coming up. I'm over 50, we all know. And so I'm learning that, you know, I have to kind of learn what Generation Z and the other young people, how they learn, how they become effective in a workplace. And it's not necessarily what my background was, and I don't even know what generation I am, like what you would consider me. I hadn't kept up with that. But now we're doing some research on Gen Zs and the younger generation, because so many of our interns and our like AmeriCorps are there, and they come from a technology age. You know, they were born with the internet. They were born with mobile devices in their hand. They're really a group of wanting to belong. And once they feel that they belong to a group, they work alongside people collaboratively, type of things like that. Versus, I think my style was you work as hard as you can, prove yourself, and then you become part of a group. And that's really flip-flopped with the generation, and it might even actually be healthier for mental well-being. But it's learning the different ways of how we need to work together and how to be successful. So part of that is we want to bring back, if you've been with us a long time, our interns used to do projects. So on top of their daily work, they weren't just shadowing caretakers, but they were taking ownership of whether it be an enrichment project, a maintenance project, a construction project, but something that they could really own. And then at the end of the internship, do a presentation. And some of them did it internally to staff and interns and volunteers, and sometimes they did it on a live post. But I think those leadership skills and really having autonomy and ownership is important. It's been so busy here, and a lot of times it goes back to just the focus on getting the work done. And we need to remind ourselves that we're a teaching and learning facility. So that means slowing down, even though the to-do list is this long, and making sure there's opportunities, like we just brought our animal care interns to the viewing room of a last exam, giving more of those opportunities to interns and staff starting at the sanctuary. So going back to having them shadow more operant conditioning and learn that shadowing and using the viewing room more than we have in the past, so they get that experience. Projects, and things like that. And then of course, part of it is accountability too, is that as we add things back in, we want to make sure that they're still meeting performance levels. So we used to do field trips and things like that, but we've learned that just is a really long time away because we're so rural. So we used to send to like-minded, like the rehab centers and things like that. But I think we can bring more back in because what we hear is their favorite part a lot of times about the internship program is, you know, they love the classes that we do, learning about the captive wildlife crisis, tips and tricks on getting a new job, nonprofit 101, saying no to cub petting, things like that. So they learn much broader than just becoming an animal caretaker. We want them invested in the mission of the organization to go out and be advocates in the world. And so that's something we're definitely looking at bringing back, which means we will need more interns because we want to give them more opportunities, which means, less hours in the day. Things have really changed in our industry. I remember early on, interns worked 6 days a week, 10 to 12 hour days. That was standard. That is not how it goes these days. Back in the early days of, it was blood, sweat, and tears, all of us founders. We gave up our nights, weekends. We worked 14 to 18 hour days. And, we've learned over the years that that's just not fair. I mean, as we've talked about with you guys, is we want to treat our staff, our interns, our volunteers, and all of them, we want to treat them well, and we want them to be well, both mentally and physically. And that means not wearing them out, because what we do is already hard enough. So we continue to make progress and learn and continue to evolve our programs for that too. And on top of that, we have things that we've had to do. Like today, we did right to know training. I know a lot of animal facilities and smaller organizations we don't do the annual training. Well, right to know is a legality in most states of making sure that people know about zoonosis, about bloodborne pathogens, about safety risks on the work job, about SDS sheets and things like that for chemical exposure. And so we did that this morning. We brought in free yogurt for everybody to make it a little better, to have a free treat to have to watch some of those, the videos. We also are doing trailer training. Bobby is doing trailer training, not only at the flatbed, but the rescue trailers, because if we're not on the road all the time, people don't stay up on those skills. Also, we have new animal caretakers, and they might not have ever driven a trailer before. And part of being a caretaker is you're going to be on rescues, you're going to be picking up equipment and supplies, and we want you to know how to drive a trailer, fix a tire, rehook up a trailer, and do all those checkpoints. So they're doing that as well. And then we are trying to always improve technology. And that's not only communications with you. You guys are on Facebook right now, but we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on YouTube. And there's different ways to reach new audiences. I love having all of you on their Facebook, but the demographic of Facebook is more of all of us. And we really need to engage a younger generation so that they become people like you as they grow up. We need to make sure that they want to donate their time and hopefully resources to help nonprofits, not human causes, animal causes, environmental causes, any cause you can think of that they want to be passionate about. We want to make sure that we instill in them about giving back. And so we are looking at new ways of doing technology, and it might be through some SMS texting, different ways to use AI, not to replace one-on-one communication by any means, but to maybe automate some things that we're doing manually that could free up our resources to spend more one-on-one time with you and the animals. So I was at a Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries roundtable just a few minutes ago, where about 12 sanctuaries joined in and shared different technology they're using. From some people have an app that's a walkie-talkie app, so it's not staticky. If I had cell service, we'd do that here. We were sharing, kind of animal care software things, everything from donor databases, just about what technology. And even the Colorado Horse Rescue had a great new app about emergency response. And right now it's just they're using it just in Colorado. But it's something they hoping to license later down the road. So if there's an evacuation, that it's a coordination of trucks, trailers, drivers, and it's not only just for their rescue, but it's for anybody that owns horses in Colorado, since there is a fire risk there. So it was really cool to hear and learn about that. On site, let's see. Well, we've done exams. So Langley, the cougar, had a wellness exam today. Everything went well. And if you are her sponsor, you will get an update and a few photos coming out. Also, Ripley, the Lynx, had another wellness exam. Ripley came with a group of bobcats and lynx from a facility here in Minnesota that was just breeding to sell the animals. I wouldn't even say it's a facility because it wasn't licensed. It was an individual. And we took we offered to take all 12 of the cats, but by the time the seizure happened, he had gotten most of them he had sold or given away. And so we took in, I believe, 6 total. And there are 4 bobcats and, is it 4 bobcats? I'm trying to think of how many cats. There were so many rescues at that time. Well, let me label Kaya, Ripley, Miko, Bonnie and Clyde were the cats. So, but many of them are having GI issues, and everything from just bloody runny diarrhea to poor body condition. And it's just not normal for cats that are supposed to be 3 years and younger. So as we've sedated them and resedated and do fecals, as you guys know, Clyde has a bowel disease, and so he's just got GI issues. And so Ripley was having some things too. So those tests come back, we'll make sure the sponsors know things we're treating, but things that you can tell is just happening from this inbreeding and captive breeding. It's not from diet, it is genetics that are they're just breeding for whatever purposes. So I'm really, really glad those cats were rescued. I feel bad about all the other ones that weren't, because not only are they probably living a life that is not suitable to them, but also if they're breeding more cats, similar to the metabolic bone disease issues with servals, these GI and pancreatic issues are not normal for bobcats or lynx in captivity. And so to see it so frequently in this group says that they have bad bloodlines and that somebody is still breeding these cats to be sold to the pet market or to others for exhibitors, and just perpetuating those health and chronic health issues. So really frustrating there, but so happy that we have the vet care and the attentive caretakers we do to notice these small signs in these animals to make sure that we're being able to give them the treatment they need to live long and healthy lives despite the obstacles against them. So also when people are out doing rounds and things, fun things get found in habitats. So last week I showed you some paw prints, castings that were done. This was Gino's that just came. I think I might have showed you Noah's last week. But that was Gino's. The other thing caretaker brought me today was this claw sheath. This is Lion Mansa's. And this was just, she grabbed hold of the fence and she just pulled it right off. So she didn't hurt herself. This was ready to be shed, but it is so thick I can't bend it. And it just goes to show you what damage these guys can do, because this is just a little bitty of it. It's crazy. And I can tell she had grabbed that fence. It's something she likes to do because this has got a deep divot. So it wasn't the first time she had done it. She had worn this deep divot. We've also found, I think I might have shown you this, I can't, this broken canine. Now at first you get really worried, right? Because who broke their tooth? But we knew this came from a habitat where the cats did not have any new broken teeth. So kind of looking back and who had lived in that habitat before, this ended up being Nikita, the white tiger's canine, which we knew was fractured. We just never found it. We assumed she had swallowed it or something, but no, that was found under an old platform deep down in the dirt. So that had broken off years ago because she's no longer with us. So those are just a few things. I also get brought a lot of whiskers that are really long. And everything that's found, we have them turned in here, and then we use them for educational purposes on site. Because many of these animals are endangered species, and so it is illegal to sell these. It's illegal to, we don't want to give them away across state lines or anything like that. So keeping them here for education is the best and safest and most respectful thing to do. So Catio Town. So I sit here and I think I was on the podcast with Dr. Lannon when we thought the construction was starting. Well, it actually just ended up being a site visit. And then the last date we heard was that they were going to start July 8th. Now they're looking at starting July 10th. So we keep pushing this date back, which is making me nervous. But the construction team has promised that they are going to be sending 2 teams of carpenters. So when it starts, that they will have double the staff working on that building. It is frustrating, but I've learned I've got to be patient with contractors. There's never a construction job that's been outsourced that has started on time, finished on time, been on price. So we're hoping we have better luck this time. But between Summer Safari, that was our big event, and now we're getting revved up for finishing and working on some bobcat yards to move a bunch of our bobcats. There's been a week or two of downtime. I wouldn't say downtime because everybody's busy and their list is this, but it's maintenance time. So they're working on anything that they see has rust on it. You know, if there's perches, they've gone through and tested all the perches. If there's anything a little wobbly, firming them up. Looking at the kennel fronts in the buildings again and sanding those down and repainting those. And so it's been a good catch-up week. Play dates. The only play date right now that we are working on in the moment is little Harley the Bengal and trying him with Riku's group. And we had a few caretakers out sick this week, so we are going to try and look at the play date this week, but we don't know. We might just postpone it till next week. We'll wait and see. Ramsey, the Canada Lynx, has been stubborn about coming up to medications. Archer and Belvedere and Francis have all been not wanting to come into their lockout, which is pretty normal when we have a lot of construction or mowing going on. Benji and Sophie, the little Bengals that live in the hospital temporarily while Catio Town's being built, got to spend some time out on the catio here and get fresh air, and they liked that. The office dynamics here are still a little off. Kiara was barking a lot, doing alarm barking at AmeriCorps, and she's continued to do that at staff. But I don't know how much it is AmeriCorps or the staff as much as it is the new cats in the office as I look down here. Hank is doing still really well, and he's been venturing out. They're fully merged now, but Hank and Jameson still look at this office as their safe room. But Hank is treating Kiara just like Oreo did. He is putting Kiara in her place. When she barks, he runs full speed and hits her with his paws on the side of her body. No claws out or anything, but so Hank is taking on Kiara, yet Dahlia, our little Bengal out there, is cornering Hank. So no huge fights. It's all been posturing. So we're still hoping it goes well. Hank and Jameson still, you know, if we have a staff member or a core volunteer that wanted to provide them a home environment, of course they're up for adoption. So they're not permanently the cats here yet, but if they don't find adoption, they will always stay here. The staff have full houses already, and so there are a couple people that absolutely love them, and it's heartbreaking them not to take them home, but their household is already too full. But they're doing great. They're both just totally cuddled up right down here. So maybe if they're still here, I'll turn this around and you can actually see them. So let's see what else is. We've donated or paid some money to upgrade our township road. We're on a dirt road 2 miles in, and we do a lot of wear and tear on our road, so we contribute to that road upgrade every year. We have tons of frozen watermelons that are going to be given out, and cantaloupe is enrichment. So definitely stay tuned. I think over the next few days, you'll see that on social media. We have crew day. Sally, for those of you guys know, Sally not only does thank you calls, but she comes up for crew days. And they're going to be working hard on clearing out all the brush and some pine branches for the last bobcat area we're going to build this year. We still have more going to be built next year. And then they're going to paint some indoor bungalows too, so that we get those bungalows access to Sushi and the bobcat moving into that yard. And then on top of that, I had a bobcat rescue call this week. It was a privately owned bobcat and raccoon here in Minnesota. They didn't have it legally, so when animal control went there to pick up and was going to bring us this year-old bobcat, the family had left their house abruptly and taken the animals with them. So we don't know what happened to them. I'm just hoping that that bobcat is well cared for and will be well cared for its entire life, given that it's only a year old right now. And I've gotten a few more calls on Bengals. Unfortunately, the Bengals that we've gotten calls on have not been getting along with other cats, and so that's hard for any sanctuary, whether it's us, Wildcat Ridge, or Cedar Hill. to take in a cat that we know doesn't do well with other cats. So right now I've offered them some rescues to call and things like that, but not anything we could do directly, which is really hard to say no, but it is important that anytime we say yes, it is about not negatively affecting the residents here, but also ensuring that we can give that cat the best possible life. And we don't want a cat in isolation. We have several that live independently right now, and we wish that they would want to welcome friends into their home, things like that. But I think that's kind of my updates for this week. I appreciate everybody being here. You know, Tracy, I see you're here. I know Faith is here. So thank you guys for all, you know, always being here. And the one thing I want to say is thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for those that have given to Catio Town. That is a project that we've already, prices have already increased because we've added 5 more sunlights into the north side of the Catio Town to make sure that the catios get a lot of natural sunlight. We're welding the kennel fronts for inside the building. Our project list is getting too long if we want to get the bobcat yards done, so we've had to outsource that welding, and that's an incremental cost. So those of you that have donated or sponsored a square foot for $250, thank you. And those that haven't, you have now until June 30th to have your donations matched. This match goes through June 30th, so it's the last few days of it. If we can get any more donations in for this project, that would be so meaningful, knowing we are already hitting the top, but so many of you have already given, and that just means the world to me and to everybody here. So again, thank you all for being part of Catio Town. As soon as there is construction out there or any work, we promise you will see it. It'll be on a live post. It'll be photos and videos sent to founding members. It's just right now we're still waiting for construction to happen. And let me see if that is just not what I want to show you. Can turn around this camera and show you the most adorable sleepyheads here in the office. Jameson, Hankers. Jameson's Hank is not gonna wake up. So yeah, so that would a great way to end a live post, and I will see you guys next Thursday with the weekly wrap up.